I just wanted to give a brief introduction to my project. My project is finding the crossovers between puppetry, animatronics and rigging and biotechnology, where they're both seen to give life to the lifeless. This next clip you're about to see is the audio is an interview that I had conducted with my older brother about his type 1 diabetes, and overlaid is all of the process work throughout this year.
You would typically spend your childhood being trained up on how to manage your diabetes. To me, they just gave me the insulin pens essentially. In terms of what they gave me physically, as it's the NHS and it's the underfunded Hemel Hempstead Hospital, a load of papers printed off from the internet about what diabetes is, how to manage it, how to count your carbs and match it to the insulin, what to do if you get a low blood sugar, what to do if you have a high blood sugar. A load of reading and a load of paper, and to be honest, I just left there feeling quite scared. I remember just for like the next week trying to manage your blood sugars, and I was just so scared of going to sleep, because obviously you need your blood sugars to be within a certain range, and if they go low it can be dangerous. So for the next week I just basically couldn't sleep because I was worried, are my blood sugars okay? Like, my pancreas was slowly dying, spurting out bits of insulin as it slowly just gave up on me. So it was even harder to manage it than it is now, because now I know that my pancreas is just completely, it doesn't work. So back then I would have a lot of sleepless nights. I was basically just like, well, I should have died. And I still to this day feel a bit of a, well, I do feel a sense of like I'm lucky to be alive, and it does make me just feel different to everyone else, and it makes me feel weaker because of the fact that, you know, I should have actually technically died. It makes me feel a bit like inferior to everyone. So at uni especially, I didn't tell anyone, and that is actually dangerous. I just, like, when you go to uni, you've got all these new peers and you want to impress them and you want to just be like one of the cool kids or whatever. It's an untrendy thing to have being diabetic. Like, it's not a nice thing to have. It's like saying you're, I don't know, obese or you've got bowel problems. Like, it's not a thing you tell people, even though it's something I couldn't help. And I think if I'd grown up with it, I would have like struggled less, because I would have found ways of telling people, and like people would, you know, I'd be comfortable with it. It was a big change in my life, and I really struggled telling people, and I kept that up the whole way through uni, even though your first year of uni is actually a very, very like dangerous time, because you do a lot of drinking, you know, you have a lot of booze, you do stupid stuff, and like especially being so far away from my family, who were pretty much, other than my like best mates from back home, the only ones who knew about it. Yeah, so it was very like, it was weird, but it was just quite like an inventive time of my life, because I would have to come up with these ways of hiding it. So if we'd be at uni, basically the main way of doing it is you just combine it with saying you're going to the toilet. So I don't know, maybe I was just one of those kids that looked like they were going to the toilet quite a lot. Another thing is maybe I didn't actually control it well enough because I was trying to hide it, and that's like one thing that I regret, is kind of sidelining it a bit at uni. Yeah. Not treating it as important and kind of doing other stuff. But you can't blame me, because, you know, when you're 18 and you're at uni, that's what you want to do. You don't want to have to ditch every one of your mates to go and deal with your medical condition. It's like, that's not cool. Like, that's not what I wanted to do. So I did just kind of ignore that. So that's the thing about like that initial, if someone meets you, you don't want them to think that you're this kind of like weaker person. Like, yeah, you can eventually get to know them and tell them, but if you meet someone and it's like, oh, here's Tim, he's the diabetic, you'd be like, I just feel like people would feel, like, sort of stay away. It's like I had this girlfriend, pretty recent girlfriend, and I was obviously like over the moon, like excited, and the whole time I'd known her, basically a year, you know, been hiding it from her. Imagine how hard that is. You spend like days with this person in her like bedroom while she comes over. How on earth I was able to hide it from her? So I remember, like, I would, when I'd arrive at her house, go into her bathroom and hide my stuff on top of the bathroom cabinet, so that then like I could just be like, oh, I'm just going to the loo, and not have to like go through my bag, take all my stuff with me, I'd literally just go in there and I'd be like, okay, good, it's already on top of the cabinet. So yeah, eventually I just felt like this is ridiculous. I was scared the whole time that if I told her, she would break up with me, basically. I just had this idea that everyone's looking for like the perfect man and no one's going to want to go out with a diabetic. I don't know why. It's just like it's just not a thing that I thought was like a trendy thing to have. And then I think one day I did just tell her, and she was just completely fine with it. Like, she was just like, oh right, oh, that's interesting. Like, she didn't like react badly, she was just like interested in it. I still, even though I told her at uni, I still kind of kept it to myself because I didn't really want to be seen injecting needles into myself and extracting blood, you know, because that's just like, it's something you don't talk about. No one wants to go into A&E and see ill people. Technically I'm ill, I've got a disease.